You write that when aides finally convinced Trump to do a video message calling out the rioters, it took them 3 times to make it seem sincere. Why didn't and why doesn't Trump still not grasp the severity of that day?
I'm so glad, Pam, that you go right to the day of the event because, and inside the Oval, where Trump is watching TV in his dining room, just off that part of the West Wing, and people inside, front row witnesses to this moment in history, basically described the president as MIA. He's kind of a little giddy as he sees his protesters, his supporters, the people he just spoke to at the Ellipse start charging up the Capitol Hill. And remember, when they break through barricades and start going up the inauguration platform, they're breaking the law, and he's pretty happy. It's only when shots are fired and there's violence and reports of that he essentially says the version of, oh crap. But it takes his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and his daughter, Ivanka Trump, multiple visits and attempts to get him to basically call off the dogs because he is not saying anything. He's sort of wondering what he should say and how he should say it. He wants to praise his base. That part of him just is so reflexive.
Right, and even calling off the dogs, I mean, he barely did it initially, right? I mean, and I remember talking to sources in the White House at the time who were ardent Trump supporters who really, after seeing how he responded to that, it was a turning point for them. And that's a whole nother story. But you spent 2.5 hours with the president at Mar-a-Lago. You interviewed 140 sources. Take us into the psyche of Donald Trump and his influence even now in GOP politics, particularly on the minority leader, Kevin McCarthy. We just saw what he did, pulling his picks from the January 6th committee. How is Trump pulling the strings behind the scenes?
So keep in mind that right after the election, President Trump seemed to believe that he may have lost. What we learned is the night after, he said to Kellyanne Conway, how could we lose? I'm so bummed we lost. But in the meantime, his inner narrative has gotten harder and harder and less related to reality. It's unmoored. And he, in Mar-a-Lago, when we visited, a ton of people traipsed by to sort of kiss his ring, and more were coming. Congress members trying to get his endorsement. And as he said to us, if they don't come, if they don't get the endorsement, they don't win. And he views himself very much as a successful kingmaker and the standard bearer for the Republican Party. He likes Kevin McCarthy. He detests Mitch McConnell.
I mean, he likes Kevin McCarthy for now because Kevin McCarthy is kissing the ring. I want to go to this thought that the book opens up with, just to go big picture after what you just laid out there, Carol. It says, the year 2020 tested the republic, yet the institutions designed by the founding fathers were still standing by the time Trump left office. America's democracy withstood the unrelenting assault of its president. Who do you credit, I should say, most with keeping democracy afloat?
It's two things at once, Pam. It's the fact that a ton of people who supported Donald Trump, worked for him, ultimately believed his impulses were super dangerous and tried to be a bulwark against what he was trying to do. The other part is Donald Trump wasn't that organized and effective. If somebody was better at being an autocrat, at being a democracy splinterer, they might have been more effective, but he wasn't.
And that is pretty frightening. All right. Thank you so much, Karen Linick, co-author of I Alone Can Fix It. Thank you. Well, who needs